Bonjour! UFC Paris takes place this Saturday at 9 p.m. South African time. Will Benoit Saint Denis wrestling heavy approach be too much? Or will Moicano show me the money and be this week's underdog prize parlay pick? All this and more this time on Fighting with Friends. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Fighting with Friends, the undisputed African fighting podcasting champion of the world. Speaking of champions, ladies and gentlemen, as always, I have with me the reigning, defending, undisputed vegan champion of the world. That is, of course, Brother Gaia.
Yes, bro. Let's do it. Fight Week is here. Two organizations. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go, Brother Gaia. Also with us this evening, ladies and gentlemen, making his third appearance on Fighting with Friends. Last time out winning in an absolute war by split decision. He's still undefeated, ladies and gentlemen. It's El Nino Nazim, aka Babu.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Babu.
Yo, excited for this weekend, bro.
Exactly, boys, exactly. Hell of a card here. Very spoiled to have such a good fight night card. Let's kill the music, please. Let's kill the music, please, guys. Sorry, guys. Interns, I don't know what to tell you.
Yes, yes.
All right, boys. So without any further ado, let's jump straight into it. As always, we're going to start at the top of the card where we see my guy, Manny Moicano, coming up against Benoit Saint Denis. Moicano starting as a 3.1 underdog in this fight. He's coming in 19-5-1, 5-1 in the UFC. 10 wins by submission, 4 first round finishes. He's on a 3-fight streak, last time out beating Jalen Turner by second round TKO by vicious ground and pound. Coming up against an absolute beast of a man in Benoit Saint Denis, who is 13-2. All wins by finish, 7 first round finishes, but last time, of course, getting stopped by the diamond, Dustin Poirier. So, gentlemen, massive fight on the cards here. Brother Gaia, what you got for us, bro?
Firstly, I'm very shocked to see that Moicano is the underdog. That just blows my mind, to be quite honest, because I think that's purposefully done. But if it is so, I think the money would be on Moicano for me. And I'll tell you why. I think he's got more experience in this fight. I know Benoit Saint Denis is the wild one, special forces in the French military. The dude's got a high volume kind of fighter, forward pressure. We see what he did to Dustin Poirier in the first round. However, that being said, I do think that can be something that's going to be considered as one of the weaknesses for Benoit Saint Denis in this fight, because Renato Moicano he's got just a wealth of experience in the UFC. I think it's going under the radar because he had a bit of a losing streak before coming into this last, I would say, year and a half. He's kind of switched his whole game around, being 35, being more experienced, and also he is a killer at the end of the day. I wish Jed was here to talk about it because Jed loves Renato Moicano. He's got slick jiu-jitsu and he's got very heavy hands as well. The guy knows how to strike. He's a bit of a slow starter, but I feel like once he's in it, once his adrenaline starts pushing, you start seeing experience come out. And Benoit Saint Denis, one of his best things you can highlight is the ability to mix up striking and offense. Starts on the southpaw, but then he switches between southpaw and orthodox when he pushes forward. And then when he gets you backed up in the corner or on the cage, he seems to switch between takedowns and strikes. But I think that's where we're going to see Renato Moicano do his best work, is when he's coming backwards and fighting off the back foot and almost sucking Benoit Saint Denis into a wild exchange. And once they hit the ground, I think Moicano being the taller fighter, having the longer reach, and also just like I said, being the more what's the word? He's a bit more of a killer when it comes to the jiu-jitsu side of it. Saint Denis has got good wrestling, but he doesn't have the best jiu-jitsu. Even though he does have good submission game, I think Moicano is a bit more advanced when it comes to that avenue of the fight game. And based on how it's difficult to put Moicano away, I do think he's going to be the one that's going to get the job done here. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's a finish. I wouldn't be surprised if it's going to be a finish, because Saint Denis puts himself he puts himself in that position where he gets, it's very dangerous. He gives one, he takes one to give one, and I just don't think he should play that game with Moicano, because Moicano is a straight up finisher. And yeah, so that's how I see this fight going down. I see Moicano getting the job done, possibly in the third round.
Probably by sub then, I
Yeah.
assume.
Yeah, sub.
Yeah. Guillotine. Is he going to secure that guillotine that Dustin Poirier was going for?
Guillotine, guillotine, rear naked choke, or even triangle, bro. It depends on how it goes. But if Moicano gets rocked, which I do think it's very possible, because Santini's pressure is relentless and it's a high volume kind of pressure. Probably get it down to guard, but that's where Moicano is also very dangerous. His guard is slick, and again, he's the bigger guy. I expect him to be the one that's more conditioned here, and he sounds, based on watching him through the week in fight week, the media coming out, Moicano sounds like he's prepared for it, man, and he loves the fact that he's the underdog in this fight.
All right, so brother guy going with show me the money Moicano. I like that. Babu, any difference of opinion here, or what are your thoughts here, bro?
I'm on the other side of the fence. I'm with the God of War.
I love it.
I just, to me, I think Moicano, like watching his fights, he does get hit, and sometimes like opponents do tend to take advantage of that. And like brother guy has said, like he does have slick jiu-jitsu, and the only reason we know that is because he's on his back, like sometimes. And like I think with Saint Denis in the last fight, I think he's like, even though he lost, I could still see that he had that dog in him to go, to keep going. And I just don't, unless Moicano can only submit him, and I just think that's the only route to victory and decision, obviously, if the fight goes all the way. But I think Saint Denis' power is just like a game changer, and like especially with Moicano getting hit. And I think if Saint Denis does put him on his back, Saint Denis does have that relentless ground and pound, almost Khabib like, not the same, but I think he does put a lot of pressure, and he does hold positions well. So I don't see him like making mistake in that sense. But it is fighting, and anything can happen. But I am rocking with the God of War in this one.
Ooh.
I mean, yeah, he is the overwhelming favorite, so it's not
Shocking.
hard to go against that. Look, I mean, like I said, Saint Denis is a beast, bro. Before losing to Poirier, he was on a tear. But I think your point about the jiu-jitsu, brother Gaia, is an important one.
I'll make another point as well.
Yeah.
Renato Moicano also trained with Dustin Poirier, holding up to the fight. I'm not sure if it was part of the same camp, but he was at the same gym, and I'm pretty sure he's got some tips. And he loosely touched base on it when in one of his interviews in the week, about that connection to Dustin Poirier, who obviously beaten Benoit Santini. So that's something we should look out for, and yeah, don't overlook it. Also, another thing as well, that Moicano also fought in featherweight with a bunch of killers like Jose Aldo, Calvin Keita. Like, he's been in there he's got that kind of experience, man, fighting against high level opponents. So I'm struggling to see what Benoit Santini is bringing other than power that Moicano hasn't seen before. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's why my money's on Moicano there. He's just got the experience.
Yeah, it's very difficult to say, to be honest. But like, before we started this discussion, I was also leaning to Moicano, but that's just because it's money Moicano, right?
You're a fan.
So, yeah, I'm a big fan, right? So yeah, I'm very emotionally invested here. So I think I'm gonna stay on the fence with this one, boys. But I really am hoping for Moicano to get done by submission.
Yeah.
Sorry, Babu. Then I'll go with Moicano, bro, by sub.
Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil, bro. Let's go with Brazil.
I'll find you in the recap, boys. I'll find you in the recap.
We'll see. All right, boys. Let's keep moving then. And next up, we are going to the middleweight division, where we see Nazaruddin Imavov come up against Brendan Allen. Imavov starting as the 1.47 favorite. He's 14-4, 6 by KO, 4 by sub. Has 7 first round finishes, and his last fight he beat Jared Cannonier by 4th round TKO. He's coming up against Brendan Allen, who is the 2.75 underdog, 24-5, 14 by sub on a 7-fight streak. And his last win was against Chris Curtis by unanimous decision. So, Babu, what are your thoughts on this one, bro?
I'm shocked that it's that much in favor of Nazruddin. I didn't expect that, but okay. I think both fighters. I think Nazruddin is the hot up and comer with the name Marine, and like we haven't seen like anybody test him yet in the UFC in that sense. But in Brandon Allen, we've seen him. I love his fighting style. I think he can be a contender. I think he just needs a bit of work. I think he needs a bit of experience, a bit more fight time, a bit more UFC time. I do think he does get like he tries to get the beautiful finish, the bonus finish, and so sometimes he does overcommit to things. And I think so far, I think like he's actually, now that I'm thinking about that, I think that maybe like that ground game of Nazruddin is the reason that he's such a favorite. So, I'll go with Nazruddin to win, like by decision. I don't think a finish is here.
What?
But the guy, you're looking
Really?
shocked there, bro.
I don't know. Both these
don't
guys
know.
are finishers, bro. Both of them go for finishers. I think Nasruddin is a bit of a better striker than Brendan Allen, to be quite honest. I think Brendan Allen has got the advantage when it comes to the grappling with the guys. You can look at a lot of his fights. He usually ends with that rear naked choke. And he's a very slick finisher on the ground. And also, if you look how quickly he gets that rear naked choke most of the time, but the stand-up game is where I'm a bit worried because I think Nasruddin Imavov is a bit of the he's got more reach, if I'm not mistaken, or they got the same reach, but the way they fight is different, and the way the reach is used between the two fighters is why I'm tipping it towards Nasruddin because he knows how to use the length. The way he strikes, he's got a bit of a better kickboxing. His shots down the middle is a bit faster and a bit down the pipe. It's more accurate than Brennan, whereas Brennan is a bit of that hook brawl, bar fighter kind of thing, and then get you to the ground, and that's where he does his best work. Nasruddin is a bit of the more active fighter. He throws more strikes per minute, and I think you could see it the way he fought against Jared Cannonier, and he sets it up with those body kicks, especially the teeps. I think that's probably what's going to make him dictate the fight, not necessarily the jab, even though he's got a better usage of the jab. I think he's going to utilize the teeps because he knows that Brendan Allen is going to look to more, close the distance and then get into the slick short range boxing, and then from there kind of get into grappling exchanges. So I think Brendan Allen knows that the grappling exchanges is where he's going to have the advantage, but he's going to have to get around that deep kick first, and it's very difficult to. And Nasruddin moves around really well. I mean, watching him fight, he moves around really well. I still think Drickers smoke them both, so they have to, both of them are trying to. Both of them are still shooting up for Drickers, but I think Drickers smoke them both. But in this fight, I'm going to tip it towards Nasruddin. I think he's the one that's a little bit more polished between the two guys. Whereas Brendan Allen's more of a dog. He's got that dog-like, American dog-like kind of fight. But I think Nasruddin pieces him up over the 15 minutes.
I think just because of recency bias, like whenever we've seen grapplers come up against better strikers, it's always the grapplers who seem to have get the better of the exchanges. And I think just because of that, and Brendan Allen being on a 7-fight streak and being the underdog, I think I'm gonna have to go with a bit of a wager on Brendan Allen to get it done by sub.
I see that country there under Nasruddin, and I just think that the wrestling of his is somewhere hidden in the tap, bro. I just think he can wrestle his life off.
He can get off. He's got a good. He reminds me of Shane. Sorry, his Bible. He reminds me of Sugar Sean in terms of like the wrestling is there. It's not his go-to, but what he does really well is that he's able to get back up and defend takedowns. And you'll notice that he loves to fight whenever he's up against someone who wrestles. Then he keeps Nasruddin likes to keep the fight in the center of the octagon. But sometimes when the wrestler is relentless, you will see him stay on the cage because then he doesn't really get taken down there because he's just using the cage to stay up. And then you look to throw in clinch knees. He's got more tools, man. That's why I'm going towards Imavov. I think he's just got more. He's got more recipes to use to get to a victory. Whereas Allen, he's just got that one way of going, which is not a bad way. It worked, like a 7-fight win streak, for example. I mean, it shows it worked. And this is a high-profile fight, 8th versus 4th. It's a very high-profile fight in the middleweight division. But I just think he's going to come up short against the more polished fighter here in Imavov.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with that. I do think Imavov is the more well-rounded, more well-polished fighter.
And home
And
crowd
again,
advantage.
yeah. But again, it could be recency bias just with the whole grappling versus striking thing. And again, he is on a 7-fight streak, so Askat he's going to get it done by sub. But anyway, Drucker still smokes them both, so it doesn't matter.
That's the thing. That's the truth.
So, any final thoughts here, boys, before we keep it moving?
Now we're all on the same page.
This could be a for Imavov. It could push him up to a number one contender spot, possibly get easy next, or the winner between or the loser between Whittaker and Shumayev. Brendan Allen, if he gets a win, it probably pushes him straight up into the top 5, and he can make a call out as well.
Yeah,
so I mean,
quick question. Yep. On that topic, since we are in the weight class, if Shumayev beats Whittaker, does he go fight straight for the title? Do you guys think that he fights for the title?
Oh, no, in the UFC, I wouldn't be surprised if they do that. Honestly,
I don't think he deserves it, but they probably will give it to him.
And do you not think that if Izzy says something, that Izzy fight will come his way? Like if Izzy wants to get that rematch against Rickers. Like wouldn't they feel Izzy?
He probably needs to beat someone else first.
He needs one more fight, I agree with 80.
But I don't see him fighting down. Like I don't see him fighting Marvel. But anyway, boys, I think let's cover that when we do the recap and the dust has kind of settled a bit after the event. But anyway, that means we're going to go now to the featherweight division where we see William Gomis come against the Brazilian Anderson Brito. William Gomis coming in as the 3.25 underdog. He's 13-2, 7 wins by KO on an 11-fight win streak. Last time out beating Yanis Gamuri by 3rd round TKO. Coming up against the favorite at 1.36, Anderson Brito, who was 17-3-1, 10 first-round finishes last time out, beating Jack Shaw by 3rd round TKO by ways of doctor stoppage. So, Brother Gaia, you're right there, bro.
Yeah, excuse me, I'm just breaking wind. I'm back.
Go ahead, bro. What are your thoughts here?
I'm fearing for William. I'm fearing for William Gomis. No, I'll be honest with you. I know he's very slick. He's 3-0 in the UFC. He's got a very cool kickboxing, but a lot of the French fighters have very good kickboxing. This is MMA. And if you see Joe Anderson fight, he's a killer. This guy, when he beat Jack Shaw, I was like, okay, but Jack Shaw is a very high prospect. He's got a good name and a good following. And Brito just completely silenced him, put him away. And I know it's just doctor stoppage, but the damage that was caused to him. And the one thing I like about Brito is that he's not afraid, and he's almost like a bigger version of Deuce Together. What's his name?
Yeah, Figueiredo.
They fight exactly the same style. Very slick jiu-jitsu, can choke you out from any position, and also got a lot of power in the hands. Very low stance, wide stance, got that karate kind of Conor McGregor spec, but then moves nice and forward with it. And I just think he's got more power. He's gonna have a difficult time dealing with the pace of William Gomis, especially the way William Gomis moves. He's very quick. He's very quick. Home advantage as well. Although the last time he fought in France, it was a bit of a different kind of fight. But I'm gonna go with the experience and the well-roundedness of Anderson Brito in this fight. I think he's got, again, like the other fight we're talking about, more tools. He's got more grappling. He's got jiu-jitsu. He's able to navigate the octagon. He's got a lot more fights as well. And I just think he's going to be the one that's going to get the victory here. Possibly, I want to say stoppage, but I think William Gomis moves really well, man. He knows how to get out the danger, and he knows how to fight a safe fight. But it's also that one of those, it's almost like the point kickboxing kind of fight where, you don't necessarily get in danger so much, and you look to just outscore your opponent. But I think Brito's forward pressure is scary. And I think he's going to look to grapple with him because that's the way to beat Gomis. So I'm going to go Joe Anderson probably over 3 rounds. If not, he's probably going to get a 2nd round submission.
All right, Brother Gaia. Give thanks. Babu, what are your thoughts here, bro?
I'm in the same boat as Brother Gaia. I think Brito gets the submission. I just think he's his jiu-jitsu is not something Gomis can really deal with. Like brother guy said, Gomis does have good kickboxing, but he reminds me of like Sarugan, like where they have good kickboxing, but then like if they run up against somebody that has grappling, then they kind of look like they lost in the win. And I think like if Brito really commits to the takedown and he does start putting him in positions that he's not normally in, Gomes does seem to. I think he does tap, and it's not going to take very much of Brito to make him tap. I do think that the leg reach advantage there that Gomes does have. I think like if he can stay at the kickboxing range, then I think he can make it out into a decision. And as long as if he can push the pace on Brito and not let Brito really settle in round one, and then maybe push it like late in round three again, then Brito might be outpointed. But if he doesn't like start off quickly, then Brito should definitely get the submission on him.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to William, he's takedown. He does have an 82% takedown defense. So I'm not sure we should give him a bit. Well, I think we should give him just a little bit more credit. But yeah, I do think Joe Anderson gets it done either way. It's not really like you said. It is MMA. But yeah, he's got a chance.
Yeah, of course.
Like I
He
said, good
does.
takedown defense. He's got very good striking, and like Babu said, if he can keep him at the kickboxing range, that could be a long night for Janison. But yeah, Janison, I think he's too durable. He's going to close the
Yeah.
distance, going to get inside, and he's just going to do damage. So I actually look for Janison to get this done by ground and pound, bro.
Probably, yeah. He looks to like probably chop low kicks to stop William from moving laterally, because he does have that. He uses it before. Look, the takedown defense of William Gomis, I'm not entirely sure that 82% is recorded in the 3 fights that he had in the UFC or outside the UFC included together. We should check
I
that
mean,
stat.
these are the stats. These are the stats from the page, from the UFC page.
That's what I'm asking. I'm not sure if that's recorded of the 3 fights that he had in the UFC. That 82%.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that's probably from his entire career.
Yeah.
Because
We would hope, yeah.
they do include his professional record on the page, man. But anyway, yeah, but I mean, either way, he is able to defend takedowns. But yeah, again, Joe Anderson probably to get it done here. But yeah, boys, any final thoughts here?
It's an exciting matchup, I tell you that much. You've got a slick kickboxing striker it's very quick, taking on a powerhouse brick of a man in Brito. So yeah, if Gomis doesn't, like Babu saying, if he can stay out of range, not necessarily stay in the pocket and keep the void in his range, he gets the fight done. But I just don't see it happening, man. Brito is way too intense.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess both fighters' path to victory pretty clear there. We'll see who executes the game plan better on the night. All right, boys, let's keep it moving. And this time we are going to the welterweight.
Yeah.
And here we see Kevin Jousset, who is the 2.35 underdog. 10-2, 4 by KO, and on a 5-fight win streak. Last fight beating Song Kenon by unanimous decision. Coming up against Babu's Brian Battle, 1.61 favorite, 11-2, 3 by KO, 6 by sub. Last fight, no contest against Angelusa, not being able to continue due to an eye poke. So Babu, this is your brah. So tell us what goes down here, brah.
Poobe, I grab Poobe. I think like just because I saw Poobe since the Ultimate Fighter days, I rock with him. And then like the change in him now since he's made it to the UFC, he looks like much more of a finisher. Way more aggressive than what he was in the Ultimate Fighter. And I think he just looks different. He has a different attitude to him. So I do root for him. The last time out, unfortunate situations there, he was upset about the whole situation. And I think he's coming out in this fight to prove a point. Jousset, I can't say that I've watched too much of his fight. I think I only watched one. And it didn't look impressive to me. I didn't. I think it went to decision if I'm not mistaken. Um, so I am rocking here with the pool bear, and I think the pool bear does get it done. I think it's around 2 KO from the pool bear. Hopefully it gets him a bonus there, Sindra, a spectacular knockout. But yeah, I'm rocking with the pool bear here.
Babu rocking with the Pooh Bear. Brother Gaia.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with that, to be quite honest. I will say that Kevin Jousset has got a really good stand up. His jab is slick, it's quick. Excuse me. But he is coming up against someone that's taller than him. Brian Battle's quite big for welterweight, actually. And in an Ultimate Fighter, I think he fought a weight slightly, I think it was lightweight, if I'm not mistaken. You can correct me on that, Mbabu. But he was beastly in the Ultimate Fighter. And then I think that fight you were talking about where we had the eye poke, he was also winning that fight, by the way. He was in control of it. It's just a bit unfortunate of that eye poke. But the one thing I like about Brian Battle, and this is why I think he's going to get the job done in this fight, is because he has a very good utilization of grappling and striking, and it's almost like a wave after wave. He just spam all his moves the whole time, and he doesn't get tired while he's doing it. And his grappling is quite underrated. Actually, it's quite strong, and I can also see the finish. Probably, I don't think he's going to get the knockout, though. I think he's going to get the sub here. I think he's probably going to get a nice sweet knockdown, and then just jump on that back, maybe get a naked choke, probably get an armbar as well, because he's that kind of fighter. Anything that's available for him to finish with, he will get it. That's the kind of fighter Brian Battle is. If you watch the fights in the Ultimate Fighter, he's just a pit bull. I like his style, and he looks a lot more measured now that he's in the UFC. Winning 5 of his last 7, he looks a lot more measured, and that's what I like to see. The future's bright for him, but he is going up against someone that's competent in their boxing exchanges. So he's going to have to be patient with it, because Kevin Jousset is not a slouch, even though he didn't look that great in his debut, and also the fight we were referring to in his last one. Like I said, his boxing is competent, and he's not the kind of sucker that leaves himself in exchanges where he's overextending, and he's just to get that one punch that he missed after throwing a 5-hit combo. He's quite calculated. Whereas Brian is like a fucking tornado, and he doesn't stop. So I think he's probably going to overwhelm Jousset here and get the job done. And I can also see a finish, probably 3rd round submission.
I mean, you mentioned the boxing exchanges, but for Kevin, you said, would you say his path to victory is basically just trying to keep Battle at range and kind of working off the jab?
Working off the jab.
And going to a decision. Would that be the most likely path to victory for him? Or the most likely way of victory, would you say?
Winning, yeah. I mean, he's got power, and like what I like that Jousset does whenever opponent clinches on him is he does like a Johanna Jacek kind of elbows when he exits, and it's slick and it comes almost. A lot of fighters don't even see it coming. So I look to see him utilize that when Brian Battle closes the distance and maybe shoots for a takedown or shoots for a clinch on the cage. Jousset is very good in the clinch as well. So it's not just standing and boxing with him. I think he can defend in grappling exchanges, but I just think Brian's pressure and Brian's relentlessness, and he doesn't really get tired, is how he often gets his victories. Opponents don't know how to deal with that amount of pressure. So I think that's how he gets it done.
Yeah, I mean, again, Jousset is on a 5-fight win streak, so I'm sure he'll be coming into this fight with a lot of confidence. Babu, any final thoughts here before we move on?
Yeah, I was just going to point out Ross, he was in middleweight in the Ultimate Fighter. And then he comes down to Walter.
So he's big.
One thing that stood out to me while you had the graphic on is that weight discrepancy there. Because I think Battle's going to come in hella heavy if he's 190. Yeah, and I think like especially like if they get into the clinches, I don't know if Jousset can really land all of that elbows if Battle just uses that weight on him, and he just keeps using the weight on him if he starts grappling him in that manner. But I think we're on the same page here. Battle, Pube, Mabra for the winner.
Let's just hope he makes weight. If he sounds like such a big dude, Pube. All right, boys. Let's keep moving then. And this time we are going to the featherweight division. And here we see Morgan Charriere come up against Gabriel Miranda. Morgan Charriere is the biggest favorite on this card at 1.14. He's 19-10, 11 wins by KO last fight, loss against Chepi Mariscal by split decision. He comes up against Gabriel Miranda, who is the 6.0 underdog. Of course, the biggest underdog on the card. He's 17-6, 16 wins by sub. Last fight win against Young by first round submission, and that fight lasting less than a minute. So, brother Gaia, any
Yeah,
chance
yeah,
for our biggest underdog on the card here, or is it pretty much
yeah.
cut and dry for you?
I don't know. I think look, Gabriel Miranda is dangerous grappler, very very durable. He's got the like you just mentioned his submission game, and how many submissions he actually got. That 16 wins. That's almost like 99% of his wins are by submission. So you know what he's like. You know the game that he's going to bring, and it's just classic striker versus grappler match because Morgan Charriere doesn't really shoot for anything. He's also your French kickboxing kind of style, fast pace, deep kicks. Throwing hooks, very creative, very flashy, and that's pretty much his style. The only thing that I'm worried about for Miranda, and I think this is why the betting odds is why he's such an overwhelming underdog, is because the last time he fought in France, he fought against BSD, and he lost in the second round TKO, I think. And what I noticed, it was quite intense in that fight because he had BSD rocked quite significantly in that first round. Is I think traveling from Brazil to France. We know that there is a history in the UFC of the Brazilian fighters having a difficulty with altitudes, having difficulty with being conditioned enough to go for 3 rounds or 5 rounds. They usually get tanked after round one, and it's a common thing we noticed for watching UFC for so long. And that's what I picked up in that fight against PSD. And I think in this fight as well, Morgan Charriere's pace, and if he can put Miranda on the back foot, you'll probably get him out of there early, first round, second round. But if it ends up in a grappling exchange, I do fear for Morgan here because Gabriel is a slip jiu-jitsu practitioner. He knows how to get the sub. So fight starts on the feet first, and I think that's where Morgan gets the advantage. If you can stay away from any grappling exchanges, I definitely can see a knockout for Morgan here in this fight.
All right, that's very interesting, though, brother Guy, that you're giving our biggest dog on the card here some kind of a chance. Make very much tempting me here, bro. But anyway,
Is it?
Babu, your thoughts here, please, bro, before I make some silly bets here.
I'm not a. I haven't watched Morgan too much. I have watched Miranda, and I think my intro to him was that Saint Denis fight, and that was a hell of a fight. And I do think I think in that fight, like Ross was saying, he did land a couple, and Saint Denis was like, "Hey, what is going on here?" Because Saint Denis at that point also didn't. I think that's his second or third fight in the UFC at that point.
Yeah.
And Miranda was looking decent, but I do think Miranda is a hell of a fighter. I mean, to have 17 wins and 15 of it being done in the first round is insane. Like it's almost unheard of, but I do think he gets it done. If I was Morgan, I would say try to make it to the second, since this man has such a insane record of finishing fights, and that just is tippable to that killer nature that he does have. Because once he locks you up, it's like that. But I know Tiger fucking choke of his syndrome. Once he gets you, GG's. And I don't think Morgan's gonna have that Alex Volkanovski resilience of I'm ready to die in your brother. So I do think Miranda gets it done. I would like to see Miranda get it done in like the second round, because I would want to see what the second round looks like.
I don't know about that. I mean? He gets gassed, my bro. But you see also that pace of the fight against Benoit Saint-Denis was fucking ridiculous. That's why they both of them look so gassed in round two. I was like, why are they fighting at this kind of pace, my bro? But that's just
and
just
I don't
how they
think
are.
Morgan's gonna push the pace like that with Miranda.
He usually doesn't.
He's really gonna.
He's quite measured.
Like, and like underratedly, Miranda does have some power to him. To rock Saint-Denis is not an easy task. And I think the surprise here is if Miranda does knock him out, that I think will blow all of our minds, because we're all thinking like he will get the submission. But yeah, I think I would like to see a second round. Some hopefully something fun like a
It's, look, the
like a
fight's gonna
toss.
be that. I can tell you now because both Morgan likes to be measured, but I can bet you now that Gabriel's not gonna put him in a position where he can just take his time and pick his shots. Gabriel's gonna fucking pressure the fuck out of him. I'm telling you now, that's the kind of fight he's gonna have to expect because that's how Miranda fights.
Mm. Okay, well, that's very interesting, boys. And so, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. Uh, Lock it in for that underdog. Uh, Trying to get paid this weekend. All right, boys. Let's keep it moving then. And this time we're going to our last fight of the
Mhm.
preview year. And this is the lightweight division where we see Fares Ziam come against the steamroller, Matt Frevola. Ziam is the 1.75 favorite here. Yeah.
Oh.
He's 15-4, five first round finishes. Last fight against Claudio Pulis by split decision. And the steamroller for Vola. Let me just double check this here because that also doesn't sound kosher to me. Let me just check here. Sorry about this, guys. That's
No, no, no.
No
Frevola.
worries.
Frevola. Yeah, Frevola starting as the 2.10 underdog. So it's a very close odds, but Siam is the slight favorite. Anyway, the steamroller is 11-4-1. He's got 6 first round finishes. And he, of course, also lost last time out to Benoit Saint Denis, also by first round TKO. So, Brother Gaia, your thoughts here,
Yeah.
please, bro.
Cool matchup. I think what's going to be interesting for Fares in this fight is to manage the ball in Matt Frevola. Because Matt Frevola is the kind of bulldog kind of fighter, like Benoit Santini, go ball to the wall, very good grappling exchanges, very aggressive grappling as well, and has a lot of power in his hands. So he utilizes boxing to get to his grappling situations or set up his takedowns. For us, I think he's the better kickboxer, better striker. For sure, he's got a very similar mold to Yair Rodriguez, very similar style. And you know he's not afraid to be on the grappling when he throws axe kicks and spinning back kicks and keeps to the faces, which means he obviously trusts his ground game. But I do think that the game plan that Matt's going to come in here with is your classic: get him up to the cage, get the clinch in there, ground and pound, or pound from there to get him down to the ground, and from there to Matt's work. So I think Matt's going to have the power advantage. But Zaim is not a stranger, and he's got a very much of a elusive footwork. Like I said, he's compared to Yair Rodriguez, which means he knows he can bounce from left to right and he can switch his stances up. And I think he's got the speed advantage for this fight. I think he's got the range advantage as well. And it's set up perfectly for him to win. But he's going up against a steamroller and Matt Roller here, so he just needs to watch out and learn how to navigate the ball here. Because if he doesn't navigate the ball here, I think Matt's going to get the job done.
Yeah, I think for me also, like whenever someone's got the speed, height, and the reach advantage, it's very difficult to bet against them. So Babu, what are your thoughts here, bro?
A big fan of Fares. Matt, I've seen a bit of him. I think he trains out of Sterling's camp.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I've seen his wrestling, his stand up, like from the fights that I've watched, it doesn't seem to be that polished. And from what I've seen out of Fares, he does seem to have decent footwork and he moves around very nicely and he picks his shots very calculated. And I like Ross said, if he can navigate the octagon well and not get pushed up against the cage, I think he's definitely gonna win. Because I can't see Matt really standing up with him and trading with him on just like a kickboxing fight. I think Matt really does have to like get into that wrestling and that transitions and trying to like really keep him stationary. I do hope that this is an entertaining fight in that sense, and that Matt Frevola doesn't just corner him and then hold him and then
blanket.
That's what I fear not to happen, because otherwise I'm gonna be asleep since it's called is so late.
That will be the first fight, bro. So I think you're at most danger of falling asleep at that time.
But
better make it good, boys. Make it
the
good.
one thing, because probably bringing up the Aljamain Sterling, it did remind me when I watched the John Anik podcast and Ken Flo. I think that steamroller is fighting out of Ray Longo's gym, if I'm not mistaken. So Ray Longo is famous for coaching wrestling champions in the UFC. That's their game. They know how to game plan for strikers. You saw with what Marab did to O'Malley. So I think it's the game plan. Obviously, like we said, he wants to smother for Rasia, because if he doesn't smother him, Rasia's gonna just point him away.
I'm hoping you can point him away.
Yeah, let's start the night off on a banger. But yeah, shout out to Ray Longo. He of course
Yeah.
is a long time listener and a great friend of the show here at the CPS Reports. Anyway, boys, any final thoughts on this one before we play some balls?
I think it's a good curtain raiser. I really do, because Matt Frevola is not the kind of guy that doesn't give you a boring fight. He pushes the pace. He gets knocked out, or he gets he looks to make the fight exciting. And for us, he's also a very, very exciting fighter. Like I said, if you compare him to someone like Jair Rodriguez, then you kind of know what to expect out of him. So good stylistic matchup.
All right, let's hope so. Let's hope so. But all right, boys, let's play some balls.
Denis! 60 G's,
So as we are still without a sponsor here at the CPS Reports, this is what we've resolved ourselves to. So boys, I've already locked in my pick for what I think will definitely happen on this card, and that is Manny Moicano and BSD not to go the distance.
I can see it.
So, Babu, you said you had your pick before we started the show. Can you remember?
Yeah, it was it was Pooey and Kevin Jousset not to go the distance as well.
Not to go the distance. Okay.
To end in a finish.
I can see it.
Okay, let's see.
Now we Pooey for the win, bro.
He's a dog, my bro.
That's actually
Pooey for the south.
Yeah, he's a dog, honestly.
I like that pick, Babu. Liquor odds there. Brother Gaia, what is your crystal ball telling you, bro?
The Morgan Charriere and Gabriel Miranda. Yeah, I think Gabriel's got it's a bit of a moosey gamble, because I can see the odds are crazy, but I do think that Miranda's got the exact game plan and tools to beat someone like Morgan. Honestly, I just see it. The kind of way you don't want to get into a stand-up brawl with Morgan Charriere, because then you're gonna get outboxed and out-kickboxed by him. He's fucking good at it. So if you can grapple him and take away his best attributes, you can beat him.
I love it, PG. I love it. That is very spicy. That is extremely spicy to the parlay, bringing us to a combined total odds of 15.73. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are betting this week, please remember to gamble responsibly, but also let us know in the comments what your parlay picks are. All right, boys. Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
Just looking forward to this weekend, dude. We got the One Championship on the Friday, and then we got the UFC on the Saturday. It's just a nice weekend of combat sports. So I'm very excited about it. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Babu?
Just I'm gonna wait for the apologies on the recap when the guy does what he does.
All right, we'll see how that goes, and we of course will be bringing you the recap at some point next week, or maybe even on Sunday. Depending on how late tonight we have at the office on Saturday. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you have made it this far, please remember to like and subscribe to the channel. It does help us out a lot, so we'd really appreciate that. But yeah, from myself, Brother Gaia, Brother Babu, and all of us here at the CPS Report, do us all a favor and have a wonderful weekend. Goodbye, everybody.